Hello, I am Tom Palmer and I am a children's author, and this is my Euro 2024 quiz. It's kind of a quiz about football, it's a quiz about the Euros, but it's also a quiz about things you can read to do with the Euros. And I'll explain as we go along what we've got to do, but just to introduce myself, I write quite a few books. I've done this series, which is called Football Academy, and I've done a series called Foul Play as well. In fact, you can see the first two books of those series behind me. And these are they're like a detective story, a girl and a boy solving crimes in the world of football. I also do a series called Roy the Rovers, which, to be honest, the books about Roy, they do all right, but the books about Rocky, Roy's sister, do even better. So she's now got her own series. End of adverts. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a quiz, and there's 10 questions in the quiz. I'm going to ask you the questions, and it's up to you and your teachers how you want to go about doing this quiz. You could get into teams, you could do it individually and write down your answers and see who gets the biggest number of questions correct. It's up to you, and I'll leave that to you because there's no point in me imposing that on you. But basically, I'm going to read you out 10 questions to do with stuff you can read to do with the Euros, the men's Euros, and then you can pause it when you want. So obviously I won't pause like long pauses for you to think about it. You can pause it on screen, and when at the end of it, when you've done all the answers, I'll then give you the correct answers. But before I do the answers, I wanted to say the reason this quiz is about stuff you can read. So it will be websites or newspapers, kind of the same thing now, isn't it? Magazines and books to do with football, particularly to do with the Euros. The reason I do that is I really struggled with reading, even though I'm a writer and I've written 64 books. I really struggled with reading, and what got me into reading was football and reading about football in newspapers, comics like this, actually, like Roy the Rovers, which was a comic when I was much younger, and books. And so I became a reader through reading short things about something I was really, really interested in, which was football. And that is why the questions I'm going to ask you are about that, because my mum encouraged me to read about what I loved in shorter things initially, like not books initially, but newspapers and magazines. And then gradually I came to love reading through my love of football. And that's kind of the underlying message of this quiz, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's enough from me. So I'm now going to read you out the 10 questions. I'll show you visual things of the covers of books and magazines, and it's up to you when you want to pause it. So I'm not going to keep going on about that. So right, so I've got the quiz questions here. So let's begin. So the first 3 questions I'm going to ask you are website questions. I got into reading through newspapers, and if I was getting into reading now, it would probably be through websites. And your first question is, as we come up, I was doing, and bear in mind these first 3 questions are their questions. I'm doing this quiz on the 4th of June. The tournament doesn't kick off for, is it the 12th? Or something like that. So this is before any of the matches have happened. I'm doing this quiz, so it's all preview stuff. In fact, question 1 is to do with the last Euros. I was doing a bit of research into the 2020 Euro final, which, as we know, England lost. And I was reminding myself about that. And so question number 1 is, which team beat England in the men's Euros in 2024 at Wembley? And that's question 1. You can now pause. So well done. That was question 1. Question number 2 is another website newspaper question, and I've been perusing on here about and it's, I'll show you, because I love to read the BBC website in particular. I love to read it. I read about all the sports, particularly football. My favourite team, which you'll probably guess, is Leeds. So I read lots about that, and I've been reading here about, although that is a picture of Real Madrid winning their 15th Champions League / European Cup, I've been reading here about tonight's friendly, because it is Oh no, it's the 3rd of June. Sorry, it's the 3rd of June. And tonight, England are playing their first warm-up friendly. England men are playing their first warm-up friendly before the Euros. Question number 2, and obviously the game hasn't happened yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. But question number 2, which team did England men play in their first warm-up game for the Euros on the 3rd of June? And it's all about it on here, but I won't show you it too closely because that will give you the answer. So that's question 2. I shall now pause. I hope that one went well. Right, question 3 is the final thing I've been watching, sort of been looking up, and the last newspaper website one. And I've been doing research into the England group games. I've got to remind myself actually when I do the answers to do that. So I want to know, like, England have 3 group games in the Euros, and all I want to know is who are the 3 teams that England are playing in the group games, and I believe it is Group C. So in the Euros, who are the 3 teams England have to play in the group stages to try and get through to the knockout stages, and that is question number 3. Excellent. So you've done the first 3 questions. We've done newspapers and magazines. So with me and reading, I liked short things. Newspapers were good. Websites would have been really good had they been around when I was a kid, and that would have been really good. And then I also moved on to magazines, and I've got 2 of my favourite football magazines here to show you. And the first one I'm going to ask the first question about. This is my favourite football magazine. It's called World Soccer, and it's about football all around the world. It's really good, and if you want to know about players in other countries that most people haven't heard of yet, that are going to be coming to Premier League and other teams in the future, you can find out so much. I've researched books in Italy, in Ghana, in Norway, all over the world, like when I've been writing my books, and this has really guided me. In fact, my book, this is another advert, my book Offside is about young footballers in Ghana who were trafficked, so illegally taken from one country to another. And the reason I wanted to write about that is because I read about it in World Soccer. I was informed about the football and world and how young footballers are being treated by this magazine. So I really like this magazine. Anyway, question 4 is, this is the European, what's it say on it? UEFA European Football Championship trophy. I want to know for question 4, 2 teams have won this competition, so the men's Euros, 2 teams have won it 3 times. I want to know who are those 2 teams, please, and that's question 4. Right, and hopefully you have paused there, and we're going to now move on to question 5, and question 5 is to do with my other favourite football magazine, which is called, I'm just thinking I've left some of my questions somewhere. Oh no, they're here, I've got them, don't worry. My other favourite football magazine is called 442. I did used to read like magazines like Match and Shoot. Match of the Day, which some of you will have read, didn't exist when I was younger. And a magazine I really recommend now is called She Kicks, which is about the women's game. That's really good. I get that on subscription. At 442, I've got a question for you here. All I want to know for question 5, sorry. So this is question 5 for 442. Is why is 442 called 442? And that was question 5. So, just a reminder that if you want time to answer the questions or talk about it in teams, however you're doing it, you can pause this video, hopefully, if it's recording. We're now on to the second half of the quiz. So questions 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 are all book-related questions. I came to love football books. I'm just trying to think, like some of my favourites I've got here, like I think James Milner's autobiography is amazing. I should have had them ready, shouldn't I? But I've read some really amazing football books about football all around the world, and it really enhanced my understanding of football, but not just football, but other countries and what goes on in other countries. So I really love reading books, and football was like my gateway to understanding the world and stuff like that. Like I've read a book about Real Madrid and Barcelona, for instance, which is there's several books about them, and it's really interesting to learn about their rivalry and where it comes from, because there's some quite interesting background stories to do with why they're such rivals, as there is between lots of other teams. Anyway, I'll stop waffling and I'll crack on with the quiz. So, question number 6. I've printed out the covers of these books because I couldn't afford to buy them all, but I was going to buy those magazines anyway, so but I have printed out the covers. This is the cover of the official Euro 2024 book. And you can get this, I've seen this, I saw this in WH Smith yesterday. You can get it in independent bookshops and all over the place. On the cover there, you have got pictures of 5 players. I'm just going to double check that, 5 players. And I want to know for those 5 players, and this is question 6, I want to know, can you name all 5 countries which are depicted there? It's probably a good idea if you froze the screen now and paused it. Right, so hopefully that was all right for you. Question 7, we're now going to go on to now. You might have seen around the place a series called Little People, Big Dreams, which is a series of books. I've got one somewhere. I'll just see if I can see it. No, typically I can't see it, but I've got one for Audrey Hepburn, who's a character in one of my books. But so it's short picture books which have really interesting stories about people's background. And seeing as he's retired as Liverpool manager this season, and seeing as he is German, it seems quite fitting to feature him, because as we know, the Euros are taking place in Germany. Jurgen Klopp. And all I want to know is, and this is one of the harder questions, I think, which German city was Jurgen Klopp born in? And I'll give you a clue. Scotland are playing one of their matches, their last match against Hungary, in that city. So which city was, I should give you a choice of 3. I'm going to give you a choice of 3. It's too hard, isn't it? Right. We'll go for Berlin, Stuttgart, Hamburg. So was he born in A, Berlin, B, Stuttgart, and C, Hamburg? Or C, Hamburg. So that was question 7. Jurgen Klopp, where was he born? So we have 3 questions left. The next question is to do with the great sort of England player of the moment, really. And some people consider him the greatest player in the world, Jude Bellingham. He's having a good season, isn't he? He's having a good time, and hopefully his club form will translate into England doing well, if you're an England fan. I know not everybody is. And what I want to know is, we all know that he plays for Real Madrid, and before that he played for Dortmund. But what I want to know is, which other club team did he play for? And it's an English-based team. So question 8, Jude Bellingham, which team did he play for before he went to Dortmund and Real Madrid? And just to say, I'm sure you know, like, the Ultimate Football Hero series books, but if you don't and you want biographies of footballers, these books really nail it. They are fantastic. Most of them are by Matt and Tom Oldfield. I have done one of them, but most of them are by Matt and Tom. So that was question 8. I hope this is making sense. So 2 questions left. Right, the Sunday Times does Sports Book Awards, and I want to know for the Sunday Times Sports Book Awards, which England player won the Sunday Times Autobiography of the Year last year? So I'm doing this quiz in 2024. So which England player won the Sunday Times Autobiography of the Year? And I'll show you the picture later. But that was question 9. That was question 9, which means there's 1 question left. But I'll just pause for a minute. Right, last question, question number 10. I wanted to make sure, because I wanted to make sure I put in a question to do with something, but I'm going to give the answer away if I say that, so I'm not going to say it. Right, so but on my desk, which is over there where I do all my writing, I could show you it, but then I'll show you it. It's not going to mess the camera up. I'll move it around slowly. So that's my desk where I do all my writing. There you go. That's my wife's desk. Because we worked in the same room together, which is really nice. And on the wall, usually there's a picture, and there's a picture like, so basically when I won the Children's Book Award, the Federation of Children's Book Awards for D-Day Dog, you got a really massive trophy, and that's me with the trophy there. And the trophy like also had this little silver egg attached to it. So that was my prize. I'll just put that somewhere safe. And when I won the prize, I kind of was feeling a bit, because it was such a big trophy like the FA Cup. I sort of wanted to lift the FA Cup like one of my footballing heroes. So I did that, and that's why there's a photo here of me lifting my trophy, and a footballer called Billy Bremner lifting the FA Cup for Leeds United in 1972. And all I want to know is, which country did Billy Bremner play football for? Because he won lots of trophies at Leeds, and he also played for another team. Which country did he play for? And that's question number 10. And I loved doing that. I never get to show people it really, but you know, like when I won that award, I just thought it'd be really fun to try and look like Billy Bremner. And so I have that on my desk because it makes me feel emotional. And yeah, so anyway, I'll shut up. So that's the end of the quiz. I'll pause now. And now it is time for the answers to the quiz. So I'm now going to give you the answers relatively quickly. So you can mark your own, however you've done it. I hope this works for you. And I'm now going to answer them. Then I'll stop waffling and leave you alone. Right. So question number 1 was from the website. It was from the internet, and it was, what team did England men lose to in the Euros in 2024 at Wembley? The correct answer is Italy, unfortunately. Question 2, which team were England playing today on the 3rd of June? But obviously it's not today for you. In their first warm-up game for the men's Euros 2024, it was Bosnia-Herzegovina. I don't know what the score was, but you probably do, because you're in the future. Question 3 was the 3 teams. Hang on, I've just got to double check this. The 3 teams that England are playing in the group stages are, of course, Serbia. That's who we're playing first. Then we're playing Denmark, and then we're playing Slovenia. So they are the 3. I knew that, of course. I was just double checking to make sure I got it right, just in case I made a mistake. So that was Serbia, Denmark, and Slovenia, as we all know. Right. So that was question 3. Question 4 was the winners of the World Soccer. The winners of the Euros in 2024. Right, I'll start again. 2 teams have won the Euros 3 times. Those countries are Germany and Spain. So that was the correct answer to question number 4. Question 5 was 442 magazine. Sorry about the production values on this video, by the way. It is called that because it is a team formation or a layout of players or a tactical approach, whichever way you want to put it. You know what I'm talking about. So that was question 5. Question 6, the official Euros book, which is buried under here. We have, just a minute. Right, we have on there, I'll try and say it while pointing at it. France, Spain, England, Scotland, Germany. There you go. So that was question 6. Question 7, Jurgen Klopp. He was born, according to Wikipedia, which you can't always trust and rely on, but usually it's right, was Stuttgart. Question 8 was the Bellingham question. He, as we know, he's played for Dortmund, he's played for Real Madrid, but he began his club career in Birmingham, at Birmingham City. So he was a Birmingham City player back in the day. I remember watching him play for Birmingham City. So question 9. Oh yeah, question 9. Which England player won the Sunday Times Autobiography of the Year last year? The correct answer is, and this book is amazing. I'm really glad it won. It is Beth Mead, Beth Mead's book, Lioness. I listened to it on Audible, and it is the best footballer's autobiography I've ever read. And what I particularly liked about it was like her, like how she talks about her relationship with her dad in it. Like I'm the dad of a young woman in her 20s, as she was for most of this book, and I really loved the way she talked about her relationship with her dad. It was brilliant, yeah, excellent book. But there's loads of football in it and stuff like that. But just when you're a dad, you look for dad stuff in books, don't you? Anyway, finally, what am I talking about? Me and Billy. This is question 10. Billy Bremner. Billy Bremner was an absolute legend, famous for being pretty intense on the football field for Leeds United and for Scotland. Scotland is the correct answer to number 10. That's the end of the quiz. I won't go on anymore. I'll just say, so I hope whoever won is really happy if you did it in Teams or however that worked for you. I hope this worked for you. I'm sorry it's a bit sort of not technically brilliant, but that's just that's how I go about making videos. Sometimes I suppose I should just shut up, shouldn't I? But thank you. I hope you enjoy the Euros, and I really hope also you find something to read to do with the Euros. It could be a website, it could be a magazine, it could be a biography of a player. Go to your local library, see what the school library's got in. Shops like W.H. Smith's, Waterstones and independent bookshops have lots of really good stuff to read as well about the Euros. Because for me, reading about football completely and utterly changed my life and made me happy, gave me a career as a writer, and did so many things for me just by reading magazines and newspapers about football. And if you don't like football, whatever your hobby is, I hope you can find lots to read about that. But for now, I wish you a really happy Euros. I wish you a really happy rest of the school term and a brilliant summer holiday. Goodbye, and thank you for taking part in this.